The principles of Stoicism have long been used to navigate life's challenges and understand human nature. Within this philosophy, certain characteristics can signal a potentially dangerous individual. Today we are focusing on the 5 traits that, from the Stoic perspective, render any man dangerous. We'll be grounding each trait in the wisdom passed down from ancient Stoics so we can better navigate our complex social environments. Number 1. Uncontrolled anger and violent tendencies. Uncontrolled anger and violent tendencies is one of the traits that can significantly make any individual, in this case a man, considerably dangerous. According to the wisdom of Stoic philosophy, these tendencies not only harm the person exhibiting them, but also the people around him and the society as a whole. The threatening aspect of uncontrolled anger is that it clouds judgment. It creates a solipsistic lens where only the viewpoint and feelings of the angry person matters most, neglecting the welfare and sensibilities of others. Wave after wave of rage rarely allows room for rational thinking or consideration. A man in the throes of uncontrolled anger can say hurtful words and commit violent acts that they might not mean in a more composed state. Stoicism argues that this anger, unleashed and unregulated, could pave the way to violent tendencies. This lead encourages a behavior that relies too much on physical action rather than intellectual engagement. It supports an erroneous belief that problems can be solved, conflicts can be resolved, and dominancy can be established by the use of force, which is greatly misleading. Such behavior might lead to severe conflicts, animosity, crimes, or even wars on a larger scale. Moreover, by resorting to violence, the individual not only harms others physically, emotionally, and mentally, he also places himself in danger. He creates enemies, exposes himself to various forms of retaliation, and he risks his status and freedom. He might lose his job, ruin his relationships, or worst-case scenario, end up in prison. All these potential outcomes of violence indeed portray a dangerous scenario. Besides the external effects, uncontrolled anger and violent tendencies wreak havoc on the angry person's mental state and well-being. According to Stoics, giving free rein to anger is like adding fuel to a burning fire. It can quickly grow and get out of control beyond repair. The person's mind gets consumed with anger, leaving no space for peace, contentment, or rationality. It pushes away all positive and creative thoughts. This drain in mental energy also affects the personal health of an individual, as it adds to unnecessary stress and anxiety. It is also essential to note that uncontrolled anger usually stems from the inability to accept things as they are. Stoics advise that acceptance and understanding that there are things beyond one's control can save oneself from unnecessary anger. Furthermore, by taming, controlling, and properly channeling one's anger without letting it escalate into violence, a man can turn a potentially dangerous trait into a drive towards positive change and growth. Number 2. Excessive ambition and pursuit of power. Excessive ambition and the relentless pursuit of power can be significantly perilous characteristics in any individual, as the ancient Greek school of Stoicism points out. While having goals and aspirations is an integral part of human nature and a key driver in our collective evolution, an unrestrained thirst for power or ambition can lead a person down a very dangerous path. Stoicism argues that the root of this dangerous tendency lies in the individual's distorted idea of success and value. When a person places the attainment of power or career advancement above all else, it often leads to the neglect of virtues such as humility, compassion, and fairness. Their excessively ambitious nature can blind them, causing them to trample over others in their pursuit of the so-called pinnacle of success. The consequences of extreme ambition can be far-reaching. An individual engrossed in pursuing power may become manipulative, deceitful, or even violent if it provides a competitive edge. This insatiable desire could potentially alienate the people around them, leading to a life marked by isolation and conflict. Furthermore, a person's health may be compromised due to the constant pressure and stress accompanying such ambition. When their sole focus becomes achieving power, they may neglect other essential aspects of life, like maintaining physical health, nurturing relationships, and catering to their emotional needs. This neglect can result in severe stress, physical exhaustion, and mental health issues such as anxiety and depression. The Stoics, on the other hand, urged a balance, endorsing ambition when it coexists with virtue and integrity. They stressed the importance of harnessing your goals rather than being controlled by them. In Stoic philosophy, success is not equated with financial wealth or power, but with the capacity to live well. To live well, according to the Stoics, is to interact with others with respect, approach challenges with courage and resilience, and possess self-awareness and emotional self-control. Excessive ambition and the pursuit of power are not inherently evil, but become dangerous when devoid of self-imposed limitations and moral considerations. Therefore, according to Stoic philosophy, it's essential to calibrate your ambition with virtue and balance. Stoicism thus suggests being ambitious, but not at the cost of turning a blind eye to everything else in life. Instead, one should focus on inner growth, virtue, and the betterment of society. Moderation is key, and ambition needs to be moderated to avoid it spiraling into a dangerous obsession. Number 3. Disregard for morality and virtue. Disregard for morality and virtue is an important element that makes a man dangerous, according to Stoicism. This is because virtue is considered the highest good in Stoicism, and a disregard for it definitively signifies a deviation from what is right and virtuous. This could potentially lead to actions that are harmful not only to the individual, but also to those around them. When someone disregards morality and virtue, they are essentially disregarding the essence of what it means to be a good person. This disregard denotes a lack of respect towards the values and principles which hold our society together. It shows an absence of self-control and self-restraint, and this can foster hostility, insensitivity, unkindness, and destructiveness. Thus, it is vital to highlight this concern, as it represents a significant risk to the well-being and balance of any social group. To survive and thrive in a conducive societal environment, we must observe a degree of respect for certain ethical codes that govern our actions. Without this respect and concern for morality and virtue, our interactions lack depth and are driven by self-centered motives without considering the potential harm these can cause. Furthermore, morality and virtue keep us grounded and offer us a compass to guide our decisions and actions. Disregarding these important constructs could lead to a life directed by self-interest, power dynamics, and materialistic pursuits, oftentimes resulting in corruption, manipulation, and destruction. A lack of morality and virtue renders a man unpredictable and capable of harmful actions, hence making him dangerous. When someone disregards morality in pursuit of their desires or objectives, they become willing to cross boundaries most people wouldn't. They may become manipulative, deceitful, and even ruthless. These traits are perilous, not just to the people around them, but also to the individual, as virtue not only guides our societal interactions, but also shields us from self-destruction. To Stoics, being virtuous is not about gaining recognition, but rather about preserving one's character, and the happiness it brings is self-sufficient. Virtue is seen as its own reward. Disregarding this principle and acting out of an absence of virtue creates a dangerous individual, one guided by potentially destructive desires rather than sound moral judgment. In essence, a man who disregards morality and virtue is dangerous because he lacks the moral compass to navigate his actions in a manner that respects and acknowledges the value and rights of others. Therefore, it is pivotal to consider morality and virtue in our everyday actions and decisions to ensure we are not causing harm, but instead contributing positively to the society we live in. Number 4. Unwillingness to learn and change. An often overlooked aspect making any person dangerous, according to Stoic philosophy, is an unwillingness to learn and change. This essentially implies a person's tendency to hold on to past delusions, arrogance, and ignorance, even when new information or experiences suggest a need to adjust one's understanding, perspectives, and behavior. This characteristic alone has the potential to make a person a potential harm to themselves and others, as it hinders both personal growth and the building of healthy relationships. An individual who isn't open to learning displays the markings of an unhealthy ego. They are convinced they know it all and feel they have nothing new to learn or any need to alter their perspectives. This often results in a refusal to take in constructive criticism or different viewpoints, leading to an erroneous perception of selves and the world around them. Stoicism teaches us that this inability to learn or change is a clear pathway to stagnating wisdom and development. Moreover, an unwillingness to change means that a person is clinging to old habits, beliefs, or ways of thinking, despite them not serving any constructive purpose. For instance, a person could stubbornly stick to outdated business methods in an ever-evolving business landscape, leading to failure. Or they continue to hold on to toxic relationships, falsely believing it to be a mark of loyalty. An essential aspect of being human is the capacity to learn, adapt, and evolve. In the face of new situations or information, we must be willing to change our perspectives and actions to maintain the harmony and progression of our lives. An unwillingness to do that, especially out of fear or arrogance, leads to a state where one refuses to face reality, living in their own unrealistic world. The refusal to change can also lead to an irrational attachment to harmful ideas and practices, resulting in destructive behaviors. In addition, an unwillingness to learn and change could lead to a state of intellectual and emotional stagnation. When we limit ourselves to existing knowledge, refusing to explore new horizons, it stifles our intellectual growth. Similarly, an obstinate refusal to change emotionally can condemn us to live our lives steeped in past hurts, angers, or fears. This unhealthy state of being can, in turn, make us potentially dangerous, as our reactions and behavior are governed more by our unresolved feelings rather than rational thought. In summary, the unwillingness to learn and change, according to Stoicism, is a significant contributor to becoming a dangerous person. This unwillingness not only deteriorates the individual's personal growth and well-being, but also hampers their interactions with others, making them a potential harm to society as a whole. It is therefore of paramount importance to embrace the continuous process of learning and change, as it is the cornerstone to holistic development and well-being. Number 5. Overreliance on external possessions or approval. Overreliance on external possessions or approval is another trait that, according to Stoic philosophy, can potentially make a man dangerous. This characteristic touches upon two primary aspects: the excessive dependence on material possessions and the continuous pursuit of validation or approval from others. Imagine a man always looking for the newest, the biggest, and the best. This pursuit of earthly possessions without leaving room for modesty or contentment can lead to a destructive path. He lives in constant anxiety about losing his wealth or not having enough. He might resort to unethical practices to amass more wealth, sowing discord and harm in his wake. He could find himself in a never-ending cycle of wanting more, never content with what he has. When the gratification of acquiring something new wears off, his happiness wanes, and he's off to find the next big thing. But what happens when these possessions are taken away, or perhaps never attained? The internal void they were meant to fill grows larger, potentially culminating in frustration or even outright aggression. Thus makes the over-reliance on material wealth a factor that could potentially make a man dangerous. On the other hand, the constant need for approval from others also presents risks. This can lead to a man being easily manipulated and swayed by the opinions and whims of others, because he values their validation more than his own beliefs or values. When his identity is reliant on constant external validation, if such validation is not given, it can lead to increasing levels of frustration and desperation. This might lead to harmful behaviors as he seeks to regain the approval he craves so much. Such a man might sacrifice his principles, alter his behaviors, or go to great lengths, often resorting to unethical or immoral actions, all for the purpose of attaining external approval. This can make him unpredictable and potentially harmful to those around him. It's essential to understand, however, that the Stoics don't condemn the possession of wealth or the desire to be liked. The problem lies in an individual becoming entirely contingent on these elements for their happiness and sense of self-worth. The dangerous man is not the one who enjoys his wealth or seeks the company and approval of others, but the one who allows these external factors to control him and guide his actions, regardless of the potential harm it might cause to himself or to others. Remember, being a dangerously powerful man doesn't necessarily equate to a successful or virtuous one, especially from a Stoic perspective. We all strive to be better, and understanding these pitfalls is a step in the right direction. If you found this video helpful, like it and hit subscribe to get more insights like this. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.